on BTC-TV, Channel 13 in Vancouver. Your answer to what's happening.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Poets Corner. I'm your host, Ben Woostenberg, and you're watching this on BTC-TV Channel 13 in Vancouver. The weather, as I'm looking out the weather window, is slightly overcast, I believe, because it seems cloudy. I can only see the road. I can't see the sky, so I can't tell you. Sea to sky, sea to sky. Okay, so today I will be reading to you from Childe Harold's Pilgrimage, stanza 80, 80 to 84. Then I will be reading to you from Mr. Billy Shakespeare, Sonnet number 14, after which I will follow it, hopefully, with The Eve of St. Agnes by John Keats. We'll see how long that takes, won't we? Um, so I think we should just uh, get into this whilst we can. That's not what I'm looking for. There we go. And I'm going to start this right now. Childe Harold's Pilgrimage, Canto the First, stanza 80. Such the ungentle sport that oft invites the Spanish maid, and cheers the Spanish swain, nurtured in blood betimes. His heart delights in vengeance, gloating on another's pain. What private feuds the troubled village stain? Though now one phalanxed host should meet the foe, enough, alas, in humble homes remain to meditate gainst friends the secret blow for some slight cause of wrath, whence life's warm stream must flow. But jealousy has fled, his bars, his bolts, his withered sentinel, dueno sage, and all whereat the generous soul revolts, which the stern dotard deemed he could encage, have passed to darkness with the vanished age. Who late so free as Spanish girls were seen, ere war uprose in his volcanic rage, with braided tresses bounding o'er the green, while on the gay dance shone night's lover, loving queen. Oh, many a time and oft had Harold loved, or dreamed he loved, since rapture is a dream, but now his wayward bosom was unmoved, for not yet had he drunk of Lethe's stream. And lately had he learned with truth to deem love as no gift so grateful as his wings. How fair, how young, how soft soe'er he seem, full from the fount of joy's delicious springs, some bitter o'er the flowers its bubbling venom flings. Yet to the beauteous form he would not blind, though now it moved him as it moved the wise. Not that philosophy on such a mind ere deigned to bend her chastely awful eyes, but passion raves itself to rest, or flies, and vice, that digs her own voluptuous tune, had buried long his hopes, no more to rise. Pleasure's pallid victim, life abhorring gloom, wrote on his faded brow cursed Cain's unresting doom. Still he beheld, nor mingled with the throng, but viewed them not with misanthropic hate. Fain would he now have joined the dance, the song, but who may smile that sink beneath his fate? Not that he saw his sadness could abate. Yet once he struggled gainst the demon's sway, and, as in beauty's bower, he pensive sate, poured forth his unpremeditated lay to charms as fair as those that soothed his happier day. And that was it. That was Childe Harold. And it's like I'm getting better at this. I'm not stumbling as much as I used to. But now comes the test, doesn't it? Time for Mr. Billy Shakespeare. Sonnet number 14. Let me see how we do with this. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Here we go. Sonnet 14. Not from the stars do I my judgment pluck, and yet methinks I have astronomy, but not to tell of good or evil luck, of plagues or dearths or seasons' quality. nor can I fortune to brief minutes tell, pointing to each his thunder, rain, and wind, or say with princes, if it shall go well. I oft predict that I in heaven find, but from thine eyes my knowledge I derive, and, constant stars, in them I read such art as truth and beauty shall together thrive, if from thyself to store thou wouldst convert, or else of thee this I prognosticate, thy end is truth's and beauty's doom and date. Well, that's very well done, Mr. Shakespeare. Well, maybe one day we can all write like that. Okay. And I'm just going to, okay, I'll tell you why I'm hurrying. I'm telling you why I'm hurrying. I'm hurrying because, well, St. Agnes is a long one, and I have to get dinner happening because it's going to be some sort of fancy little dish that I've just discovered. It's a lasagna type thing, a seafood lasagna. So I have to go out and buy the stuff and all of that stuff. Whatever. So let's see what we can do with Mr. Keats. He died young too, don't we all? St. Agnes's Eve, ah, bitter chill it was. The owl, for all his feathers, was a cold. The hare limped trembling through the frozen grass, and silent was the flock in woolly fold. Numb were the beadsman's fingers while he told his rosary, and while his frosted breath, like pious incense from a censer old, seemed taking flight for heaven, without a death, past the sweet Virgin's picture, while his prayer he saith, this patient holy man then takes his lamp and riseth from his knees, and back returneth meagre, barefoot, wan, along the chapel aisle by slow degrees. The sculptured dead on each side seem to freeze, imprisoned in black purgatorial rails, knights, ladies, praying in dumb oratories. He passeth by, and his weak spirit fails to think how they may ache in achy hoods and mails. Northward he turneth through a little door, and scarce 3 steps ere music's golden tongue flattered to tears this aged man and poor. But no, already had his death bell rung, the joys of all his life were said and sung. His was harsh penance on St. Agnes's Eve. Another way he went, and soon among rough ashes sat he for his soul's reprieve, and all night kept awake for sinners' sake to grieve. That ancient beadsman heard the prelude soft, and so it chanced, for many a door was wide from hurry to and fro. Soon up aloft the silver snarling trumpets 'gan to chide. The level chambers, ready with their pride, were glowing to receive 1,000 guests. The carved angels, ever eager-eyed, stared, where upon their head the cornice rests, with hair blown back and wings put crosswise on their breasts. At length burst in the argent revelry, with plume, tiara, and all rich array, numerous as shadows, haunting fairily the brain, new stuffed in youth with triumphs gay, of old romance. These let us wish away, and turn, sole-thoughted, to one lady there whose heart had brooded all that wintry day on love, and winged St. Agnes's saintly care, as she had heard old dames full many times declare. They told her how, upon St. Agnes's Eve, young virgins might have visions of delight, of soft adorings from their loves receive, upon the honeyed middle of the night. If ceremonies due they did aright, as supperless to bed they must retire, and couch supine their beauties lily white, nor look behind, nor sideways, but require of heaven with upward eyes for all that they desire. Full in this of this whim was thoughtful Madeline. The music, yearning like a god in pain, she scarcely heard. Her maiden eyes divine, fixed on the floor, saw many a sweeping train pass by, she heeded not at all. In vain came many a tiptoe amorous cavalier, and back retired, not cooled by high disdain, but she saw not. Her heart was otherwhere. She sighed for Agnes's dreams, the sweetest of the year. She danced along with vague, regardless eyes, anxious her lips, her breathing quick and short. The hallowed hour was near at hand. She sighs amid the trembles and the thronged resort of whispers in anger or in sport. Mid looks of love, defiance, hate, and scorn, hoodwinked with fairy fancy, all amort, save to Saint Agnes and her lambs unshorn, and all the bliss to be before tomorrow born. So, purposing each moment to retire, she lingered still. Meantime, across the moors had come young Porphyry, with heart on fire for Madeline. Beside the portal doors, buttressed from moonlight, stands he, and implores all saints to give him sight of Madeline for one moment in the tedious hours, that he might gaze and worship all unseen. Perchance speak, kneel, touch, kiss. In sooth, such things have been. He ventures in, that no buzzed whisper tells. All eyes be muffled, or 100 swords will storm his heart, love's feverish citadel. For him, those chambers held barbarian hordes, hyena foemen, and hot-blooded lords, whose very dogs with execrations howl against his lineage. Not one breast affords him any mercy in that mansion foul, save one old beldame, weak in body and in soul. Ah, happy chance! The aged creature came shuffling along with ivory-headed wand to where he stood, hid from the torch's flame behind a broad half-pillar. Far beyond the sound of merriment and chorus bland, he startled her, but soon she knew his face and grasped his fingers in her palsied hand, saying, "Mercy, Porphyrio! Hie thee from this place. They are all here tonight, the whole bloodthirsty race. Get hence, get hence, there's dwarfish Hildebrand. He had a fever late, and in the fit he cursed thee and thine, both house and land. Then there's that lot, then there's that old Lord Maurice, not a whit more tame, for his grey hairs, alas me, flit, flit like a ghost away. Ah, gossip dear, we're safe enough. Here in this armchair sit, and tell me how. Good saints, not here, not here. Follow me, child, or else these stones will be thy bier." He followed through a lowly arched way, brushing the caw as she muttered, well a day. He found him in a little moonlight room, pale, latticed, chill, and silent as a tomb. "Now, tell me, where is Madeline?" said he. "Oh, tell me, Angela, by the holy loom, which none but secret sisterhood may see, when they Saint Agnes's wool are weaving piously." Saint Agnes, ah, it is Saint Agnes's eve. Yet men will murder upon holy days. Thou must hold water in a witch's sieve, and be liege lord of all the elves and fays. To venture so, it fills me with amaze to see thee, Porphyrio. Saint Agnes's eve, God's help! My lady fair, the conjurer plays this very night. Good angels her deceive. But let me laugh awhile, I've mickle time to grieve. Feeble she laugheth in the languid moon, while Porphyro upon her face doth look, like puzzled urchin on an aged crone, who keepeth closed a wondrous riddle book, as spectacled she sits in chimney nook. But soon his eyes grow brilliant, when she told his lady's purpose, and he scarce could brook tears at the thought of those enchantments cold, and Madeline. Sudden a thought came like a full-blown rose, flushing his brow, and in his pained heart made purple riot. Then doth he propose a stratagem that makes the beldame start. Ah, cruel man and impious thou art! Sweet lady, let her pray, and sleep and dream alone, with her good angels far apart from wicked men like thee. Go, go, I deem thou canst not surely be the same that thou didst seem. "I will not harm her, by all saints I swear," quoth Porphyrio. Or may I ne'er find grace when my weak voice shall whisper its last prayer, if one of her soft ringlets I displace, or look with ruffian passion in her face. Good Angela, believe me by these tears, or I will, even in a moment's space, awake with horrid ears and beard them, though they may be more fanged than wolves and bears. Ah, why wilt thou affright a feeble soul, a poor, weak, palsy-stricken churchyard thing, whose passing bough may hear the midnight toll, whose prayers for thee each morn and evening were never missed? Thus plaining doth she bring a gentler speech from burning Porphyro, so woeful and of such deep sorrowing that Angela gives promise she will do whatever he shall wish, betide her weal or woe, which was to lead him in close secrecy even to Madeline's chamber, and there hide him in a closet of such privacy that he might see her beauty unespied, and win perhaps that night a peerless bride, while legioned fairies paced the coverlet, and pale enchantment held her sleepy eyed. Never on such a night have lovers met, since Merlin paid his demon all the monstrous debt. It shall be as thou wishest, said the dame. All cates and dainties shall be stored there. Quickly on this feast night, by the tambour frame, her own lute thou wilt see. No time to spare, for I am slow and feeble, and scarce dare on such a catering trust my dizzy head. Wait here, my child, with patience. Kneel in prayer the while. Ah, thou must needs the lady wed, or never, or may I never leave my grave among the dead. So saying, she hobbled off with busy fear. The lover's endless minutes slowly passed. The dame returned and whispered in his ear to follow her, with aged eyes aghast from fright of dim espial. Safe at last, through many a dusky gallery, they gained the maiden's chamber, silken, hushed, and chaste, where Porphyrio took covert, pleased amain. His poor guide hurried back with eggs in her brain. Her faltering hand upon the balustrade, old Angela was feeling for the stair, when Madeline, St. Agnes's charmed maid, rose like a missioned spirit unaware. With silver tapers light and pious care she turned, and down the aged gossip led to a safe level matting. Now prepare, young Porphyrio, for gazing on that bed. She comes again, like ringdove frayed and fled. Out went the taper as she hurried in. Its little smoke in pallid moonshine died. She closed the door. She panted, all akin to spirits of the air and visions wide. No uttered syllable, oh, woe betide, but to her heart was voluble, paining with eloquence her balmy side, as though a tongueless nightingale should swell her throat in vain, and die, heart stifled in her dell. A casement high and triple arch there was, all garlanded with carven imageries of fruits and flowers and bunches of knot grass, and diamonded with panes of quaint device, full of stains and splendid dyes, as are the tiger moth's deep damask wings. And in the midst, amongst thousand heraldries and twilight saints and dim emblazonings, a shielded scutcheon blushed with blood of queens and kings. Full on this casement shone the wintry moon, and threw gentle gules on Madeline's fair breast, as down she knelt for heaven's grace and boon. Rose bloom, rose bloom fell on her hands, together pressed, and on her silver cross soft amethyst, and on her hair a glory like a saint. She seemed a splendid angel, newly dressed, with wings for heaven. Porphyro grew faint. She knelt, so pure a thing, so free from mortal taint. Anon his heart revives, her vespers done. Of all its wreathed pearls her hair she frees, unclasps her warm jewels one by one. loosens her fragrant bodice. By degrees, her rich attire creeps rustling to her knees, half hidden like a mermaid in seaweed, pensive awhile she dreams awake, and sees in fancy fair Saint Agnes in her bed, but dares not look behind, or all the charm is fled. Soon, trembling in her soft and chilly nest, in sort of wakeful swoon, perplexed she lay, until the poppied warmth of sleep oppressed her soothed limbs, and soul fatigued away, flown like a thought, until until the morrow day, blissfully havened both from joy and pain, clasped like a missile, or blinded alike from sunshine and from rain, as though a rose should shut and be a bud again. Stolen to this paradise, and so entranced, Porphyro gazed upon her empty dress, and listened to her breathing, if it chanced to wake into a slumberous tenderness, which when he heard, that minute did he bless, and breathed himself, then from the closet crept, noiseless as fear in a wide wilderness, and over the hushed carpet silent stepped, and tween the curtains peeped, where, lo, how fast she slept! Then by the bedside, where the faded moon made a dim silver twilight soft, he set a table, and, half anguished, threw thereon a cloth of woven crimson, gold, and jet. Oh, for some drowsy Morphean amulet, the boisterous midnight festive clarion, the kettle drum, and far heard clarinet, affray his ears, though but in dying tone. The hall doors shuts again, and all the noise is gone. And still she slept in azure lidded sleep, in balanced linen, smooth and lavendered, while he forth from the closet brought a heap of candied apple, quince, and plum, and gourd, with jellies soother than a creamy curd, and lucent syrups tinct with cinnamon, manna and dates and argosy transferred from Fez, and spiced dainties every one, from silken Samarkand to cedared Lebanon. These delicates he heaped with glowing hand on golden dishes, and in baskets bright of wreathed silver. Sumptuous they stand in the retired quiet of the night, filling the chilly room with perfume light. And now, my love, my seraph fair, awake! Thou art my heaven, and I thine eremite. Open thine eyes for meek Saint Agnes' sake, or I shall drowse beside thee, so my soul doth ache. Thus whispering, his warm, unnerved arm sank in her pillow. Shaded was her dream by the dusk curtains. 'Twas a midnight charm impossible to melt, as iced stream. The lustrous salvers in the moonlight gleam. Broad golden fringe upon the carpet lies. It seemed he never, never could redeem from such a steadfast spell his lady's eyes. So mused awhile, and toiled in woofed fantasies. Awakening up, he took her hollow lute, tumultuous, and in chords that tenderest be, he played an ancient ditty, long since mute, in Provence, called La Belle Dame Sans Merci, close to her ear, touching the melody, wherewith disturbed she uttered a soft moan. He ceased, she panted quick, and suddenly her blue, afraid eyes wide open shone. Upon his knees he sank, pale as smooth sculptured stone. Her eyes were open, but she still beheld, now wide awake, the vision of her sleep. There was a painful change that nigh expelled the blisses of her dream, so pure and deep, as which fair Madeline began to weep, and moan forth witless words with many a sigh, while she gazed on Porphyro, would keep, who knelt with joined hands and piteous eye, fearing to move or speak, she looked so dreamingly. Ah, Porphyry, she said, but even now thy voice was that sweet tremble in mine ear, made tunable with every sweetest vow, and those sad eyes were spiritual and clear. How changed thou art! how pallid, chill, and drear. Give me that voice again, my Porphyro. L- those looks immortal, those complainings dear. Oh, leave me not in this eternal woe, for if thou diest, my love, I know not where to go. Beyond the mortal man, impassioned far at these voluptuous ascents, he arose, ethereal, flushed, and like a throbbing star seen midst the sapphire heaven's deep repose. Into her dream he melted, as the rose blendeth its odors with the violet, solutions sweet. Meantime, the frost wind blows like love's alarum, pattering the sharp sleet against the window's pane. Then Agnes's moon hath set. 'Tis dark, quick pattereth the flaw blown sleet. This is no dream, my bride, my Madeline. 'Tis dark, the ice gusts still rave and beat. No dream, alas, alas, and woe is mine. Porphyro will leave me here to fade and pine. Cruel, what traitor could thee hither bring? I curse not, for my heart is lost in thine, though thou forsakest the deceived thing, a dove forlorn and lost with sick unpruned wing. My Madeline, sweet dreamer, lovely bride, say, may I be for aye thy vassal blest? Thy beauty's shield, heart shaped and vermeil dyed, ah, silver shrine, here will I take my rest after so many hours of toil and quest, a famished pilgrim saved by miracle. Though I have found, I will not rob thy nest, saving of thy sweet self, if thou thinkest well to trust, fair Madeline, no rude infidel. Hark! 'Tis an elfin storm from fairyland, of haggard seeming, but a boon indeed. Arise, arise! The morning is at hand. The bloated wassailers will never heed. Let us away, my love, with happy speed. There are no ears to hear, or eyes to see. Drowned all in Rhenish and in sleepy mead. Arise, arise, my love, and fearless be, for o'er the southern moors I have a home for thee. She hurried at his words, beset with fear, for there were sleeping dragons all around, at glaring watch, perhaps, with steady spears. Down the wide stairs a darkling way they found, and in the house was heard no human sound. A chain drooped lamp was flickering by each door. The arras, rich with horseman, hawk, and hound, fluttered in the besieging wind uproar, and the long carpets rose along the gusty floor. They glide like phantoms into the wide hall, like phantoms to the iron porch they glide, where lay the porter in uneasy sprawl with a huge empty flagon by his side. The wakeful bloodhound rose and shook his hide, but his sagacious eye an inmate owns full easy slide. The chain lies silent on the foot-worn stones. The key turns, and the door upon its hinges groans. And they are gone. Aye, ages long ago, these lovers, fled away into the storm. That night the Baron dreamt of many a woe, and all his warrior guests, with shade and form of witch and demon and large coffin worm, were long benightmared. Angela, the old dyed, palsy twitched, with meager face deformed. The beadsman, after thousand aves tolled for eye unsought, for slept among his ashes cold. There we go. The two lovers run off. How do you like that? The dirty old woman helped them, didn't she? Yes, she did. Okay, so I have completed that, and that means that I am right on time because that was half an hour. Perfect timing. That's what we want to have all the time. So I'm going to say, oh, and look at that. It's 2 o'clock. I got just enough time to walk to the store, pick up my groceries, come back home, start cooking, and have everything all ready by 4:30 when the little woman gets home, or sometime like that. Who knows? She never knows when she's going home. Look at, I found 2 more pins. I got Mr. Bowie. Yeah, yeah. Serious Moonlight Tour. And let's party. Oh, yeah, and the other one. Rehab is for quitters. Don't tell anybody. Okay, so I'm going to call it a day. Besides Thursday, let's just say adieu. And I will see you next week at the same bat time and the same bat channel. So for BTC TV, channel 13 in Vancouver, this has been Poets Corner with your host, Ben Wisdenberg. And I say arrivederci, ciao for now. And I will see you next week.